Hi there, friends. This is Emily Windsor Craig, and it is Wednesday, the 18th of March, 2020. You know, sometimes some of our friends and family are very, very creative people. They rule their lives by an internal ethic that keeps them out of harm's way and keeps them from harming anyone. But what you see is they're spinning around in their own personal psychology. About 35 years ago, our family had a friend in Reston, Virginia by the name of Jerry, and he was a philosopher who had been to town. He was born a Jew, but he became a Sikh, and he wrote beautiful poetry. Let me read a little of his poetry to you. Many things near us are marvelous if you learn more about them. And when you do, you may feel or might want to kiss some. If on this gusty winter's day our backyard willow were in China, I might be hearing wind chimes strung, ring jingled tunes of northern Asia. If on this gusty winter's day the air itself were a wind in India, I might be sniffing fragrant scents from some unique Far East forsythia. And if on this gusty winter's day these flakes of snow lay on the tundra, I might be watching dunes of white get moved across vast areas. But backyard willow, air, and snow are only out the window here, unlike my mind's imagined scenes, which take place nearly everywhere. I love Jerry's poems. They were so cool and they were so touching. Excuse me. But what destroyed him was the spinning in his own psychology. Poets, they speak for the commonplace things. They speak for the seeds of the trees, because poets see promise in these. They speak for the stars of the night, because poets have love of the light. They speak for that something out there, because poets have visions to share. Oh, they speak the deep secrets of commonplace things, just as they heard from faint whisperings. New thoughts addition in our minds to compete for the grand award. Until that great idea appears, the winner finally found. This earns a place on life's own stage, which we escort it toward. Then thrilled it calls at curtain time, don't wait, I must debut. Present me, give me form, create. My show takes shape through you. Yes, we remember Jerry with great fondness. And he was always in trouble. He was always in trouble. He's a totally harmless guy, totally creative, but spinning in his own psychology about how things felt and how he thought and what things were that they related to, how they related to him. His life was all about him and his feelings. And now, as we approach this apocalypse, we're on this tipping point on this roller coaster ride going to a future. We're not certain how this is going to work out. Many of us deal with friends and relatives who are spinning in their own psychology. One way we see this, particularly on YouTube, is listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson. Talk about how we deal with the various psychological disorders and broken promises and unfortunate behavior, relationship attitudes that we must confront among friends, families, and coworkers. Okay, a lot of this is spinning within the psychological reality of our own psychoscape. All right. And I'm here to tell you, being an old fart, that's not what rescues us out of this situation. Spinning in your own psychological space is not moving forward in the earnest desire and intention to overcome these obstacles that are before us. Okay. Now, many of us are now in lockdown, and we can't go anywhere, and we can't buy anything, and we can't go to the theater and hang out at the pub and yaketa smacketa. But I want to remind you of the good that this lockdown is giving you. You now have time for your family and for your children. And you may not have had this time for a long time. So I'm just here to talk about how to make that time productive. The one thing you can do that will drive everybody crazy is get spinning in your psychology. Get spinning in who said what to whom and how that affected my feelings. Okay. May I suggest that's not where you want to go with this. What works better for aligning the soul with the outcome of a new future and a new start and a new beginning is to go inside and outside and examine how our behavior affects other people. Behavior is the clue and the cue how things are going to work out. Now, Jesus had some things to say about this, which were very wise. He was a very wise teacher. Let your no mean no is not easy to achieve. Because in order to let your no mean no, you have to know what's going on inside of you. Which means, okay, let's back up. You have to have had the time and the silence to discover what's inside of you. So I'd like to submit at this moment that now that everybody's home and the kids are doing whatever they're doing and mom's doing whatever she's doing, or maybe dad's doing whatever he's doing, now's the time to pull into your own sphere, set up your own psychic boundary, and examine your attitudes and your behavior and how people are responding or not responding to you. And if things aren't going well, I found in 1991 a tactic I had no idea it would work, but it did, okay? And it's called being born again. Being born again is actually something that you can get to happen to you so that you clear your decks. In 1991, my life was a mess. I was taking care of mama and working, taking care of the kids, 3 generations. It was awful. And in an autumn evening, about October 10th, 1991, I had it. And so on going to bed, I got down on my knees. I mean, it was bad. And I prayed to God, okay, this is bad. I'm probably to blame. I don't know what I've done wrong. I don't know what I've done right. Would you please help me get my head together? I'm in. And I went to sleep. And the next morning, the most astounding thing happened. You know how when you have a radio on or a TV on in the background, and there's just this constant din, there's a din, there's this constant background noise going on behind you. The kids running through the house or whatever. The next morning when I woke up, the din of my own thoughts, my own habitual practicing and rehearsing what I had to do and what I didn't do and what I should have done. It was gone. It was gone. And somehow the God of heaven cleared all that crap out of my mind. And for the first time in probably quite a while, I was able to take a deep breath and say, oh, okay, it's quiet now. I can deal with this. So I wanted to offer this idea to you as a way to get your own mental focus cleared up from all the din. And all you have to do is get down on your knees and ask and pray in Jesus' name, or however you do that, however you pray. And it actually happens. It actually can happen for you. And as a result, since 1991 and now, 29 years later, things are okay. We got it repaired. We got the heart repaired. We got the spirit repaired. We got the families grown. The kids are all okay. They're doing all right. They're not where I want them, but, I'm not in charge, right? We are facing momentous times, and the stuff that's floating around on the internet is everybody's just sky-highing like, oh, what? Quiet the din. Wash the dishes, feed the kids, sweep up the dirt off the floor, feed the dog, walk the dog. Do the essential tasks as if those tasks were the most important jobs, the most important work that you could possibly have while you're home with your family. Because the time that you give them and the time that they give you is precious and priceless, because it'll never happen this way again. Time is a gift. All right. We're going to get through this. And those of the people and those of us and those of them there who figure out that how we get along, how we just get along, is the issue that we have to be able to fulfill and satisfy. We have to just get along. Hello? Okay, let's commit ourselves to just getting along during these quarantines and epidemics or pandemics or whatever you want to call it, which are covering over for events going on over our heads and behind our backs, and we have no influence over the history being made. Now, I want to call your attention to one thing in the protocols for the Learned Elders of Zion, and I'm going to put the link to a copy of the protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion up here, so you can go read it. But in the very end, I think it's protocol number 25 of the protocol of the Learned Elders of Zion, there is a set of events put in there that describe the takedown of evil itself and the takedown of the very leadership that has been misleading and defrauding and messing with the rest of humanity. Even in the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, which is the playbook for the deep state, it calls for the end of evil and the end of mafia and the end of treachery, divide and conquer, protection, tax, racketeering, and tequila, which is double dealing. Even in the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, there is the hope and the wish and the statement that evil will be brought to an end somehow. So we can hope that that expectation of evil being brought to an end is now going to come to fruition. Hearing what the white hats are doing by creating an opportunity to make corrupted officials accountable for their corrupt behavior is a big relief to this grandma. I hope you find hope in this message today. And thank you so much for coming by and hearing the thoughts of a grandma to the younger generation. I love you all. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.